Imagine this. Two high-profile leaders from countries right next door making simultaneous, really high-stakes visits to a tense border. What's actually going on behind those headlines? This deep dive is all about the recent escalating tensions along the Thai-Cambodian border. We're going to unpack the unexpected movements of key Cambodian figures and the pre-scheduled visit of the Thai Prime Minister, both happening on the very same day. We'll try to cut through the noise, maybe reveal some surprising facts, and help you understand the real dynamics playing out. Think diplomacy, military moves, maybe even some alleged economic gamesmanship. Our goal here is to give you a comprehensive, well-informed perspective on this pretty complex situation. Okay, so June 26, 2025. Something really fascinating, maybe even unprecedented, unfolds at the Thai-Cambodian border. It's like a tale of two leaders, right? Each making these distinct but maybe coordinated appearances. What was the first big move we saw on the Cambodian side?
Right. So first up, Cambodia. You have the former Prime Minister, Hun Sen, who's now the Senate President. He makes this totally unannounced visit to the border provinces Udon Mai Khai and Preah Vihear. And the thing that immediately grabbed everyone's attention was how he looked. He was in a full five-star general's uniform, arrived by helicopter.
Wow, a full general's uniform. For a former PM, current Senate head, that's quite a visual, isn't it? How did Cambodian state media handle it? What message were they trying to say?
Oh, they jumped on it immediately. State media, even his own official page, it's called Samdech Dekso Hun Sen the General. They pushed out coverage fast, portraying him exactly like that, the general, visiting troops, visiting people at the border. It's incredibly rare for him to appear in full military gear like that, especially considering, his past. It definitely signals how serious they wanted the situation to seem, projecting national strength. He met with border generals. The image was clearly about resolve, amidst these tensions.
Okay, so that's Hun Sen. Now, what makes this even more interesting is that on the exact same day, almost at the same time, Thailand's Prime Minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, had her own visit scheduled. This was to Sa Kaeo and Aranya Prathet, a Thai province right on the Cambodian border. Was this just like weird timing, or does the source suggest something more strategic?
The timing seems anything but coincidental, really. Her schedule was super detailed, down to the minute. It looks very strategic. She had a 9:55 a.m. meeting about border control at a school in Aranya Prathet. Then, 11:00 a.m., she visited the Klong Luk border checkpoint. That's a place that's seen recent tension, right, with beat closures and things. Later, visits to soldiers, Border Patrol police school. Her purpose seemed quite different from Hun Sen's, more about showing support for her troops, addressing concerns about those scammer hubs in Cambodia. Aranya Prathet is a key link there, and maybe managing some political heat back in Bangkok, too. There were protests, legal stuff happening.
Right, so two big figures, same day, same border zone. It really does sound like moves on a chessboard. Yeah. The source uses pretty strong words to describe Hun Sen's appearance, doesn't it? What's the deeper read on this timing?
Yeah, this is where it gets fascinating. Hun Sen's visit, unannounced publicly, but the source says the Thai side probably knew about it for at least 2 days. And there's another layer. The day before Hun Sen showed up in his general's uniform, his son, Hun Manet, who's the current Cambodian PM, he also visited the same border area, also in military uniform.
Okay, so a father-son duo.
Exactly. It suggests a really carefully planned, almost choreographed show of force or concern, framing it as a major national issue for Cambodia. The source actually calls Hun Sen's dramatic appearance, timed with the Thai PM's visit, a kind of psychological warfare operation.
Psychological warfare, that's strong.
It is. Think of it like trying to project this image of strength, military readiness to both their own people and to the Thais, trying to influence how everyone sees the situation, maybe even ramp up tension without actually doing anything militarily aggressive at that moment.
Okay, so we have these very staged political appearances. But let's zoom in a bit. What did all this mean on the ground for the people actually living near the border? Because beyond the optics, these border control measures, they cause real problems, right? And maybe expose some communication issues, too. What changes actually happened, and where was it felt most?
Yeah, absolutely. Specific border areas like Memo, Tamuangtad, Tamuangtam, Takara Bay, these were flagged as zones where tension really spiked. Apparently, this kicked off after the Cambodian military reported moving, quote, modern military equipment and troops into Udon Mai Khai and Preah Vihear. They said this was a response to an alleged incident back on May 28th where they claimed Thai soldiers shot Cambodian soldiers on Cambodian soil. Both Hun Sen and Hun Manet said publicly these were defensive moves, not for invasion.
And how did Thailand react to that military movement? What were their actions on the border? What message were they sending about access?
Well, the Thai military, specifically the commanders for Army Region 1 and 2, they issued orders to adjust border crossing times. Notice the word adjust, not officially close. This was in places like Trat and Chanthaburi, but the impact was immediate for people living there. It hit trade, tourism, just ordinary folks trying to cross. There was even this incident the night before, apparently, where some Cambodians couldn't get back home because the Cambodian gate was closed. It took, a lot of negotiation between officials just to get them across.
Wow, imagine being stuck like that. That's a massive disruption. This whole situation sounds like it could get confusing fast. What does the source say about how these measures were communicated? Was it clear?
Well, that's the thing. It raises the question, why the confusion? You had the Thai Foreign Ministry spokesperson saying, oh, it's just adjustments. But then Army spokespeople seem to imply tighter restrictions, like for tourists and traders. Maybe only severe medical cases or students could get through. The source really highlights this lack of a clear central voice, like from the National Security Council, the NSC, which usually handles this stuff. No consistent message to the public on these really critical border things. It suggests a bit of a disconnect, maybe, between different parts of the Thai government.
Right.
And if you look at the bigger picture, it implies these measures, driven by military commanders, really should be part of a wider strategy, shouldn't they? Involving diplomacy, politics, economics. Not just military decisions. These temporary measures, as they call them, they can't just become permanent given how much they affect civilians.
Okay, so we've got the staged visits, the military movements, confusing border policies hitting ordinary people. But there's another layer here, isn't there? An economic one involving alleged deception. Specifically about oil. This has a whole other dimension to what might be motivating things. What did Cambodia say publicly about buying oil from Thailand?
Yeah, this is interesting. The Cambodian government publicly announced quite loudly that they were going to stop buying oil from Thailand. It was framed as this very nationalistic thing, stirring up patriotic feelings, creating what the source even calls fake tension. Hun Sen himself apparently made statements to Cambodians about cutting those oil ties.
Okay, a public boycott announcement. But what did independent analysis find? Was there anything to contradict that?
Well, this is where it gets pretty juicy. There's this Facebook page, CSI Lay, that does independent analysis. They used marine traffic data, the real-time ship tracking service, and they found that on June 24th, just 2 days before all this kicked off, a full Thai oil tanker from a company based in Sriracha was sitting anchored off Sihanoukville in Cambodia, clearly waiting to unload its cargo.
Seriously, so they announce a boycott, but behind the scenes, a Thai tanker is waiting to deliver oil.
That's what the data apparently showed.
So CSILA's take is that this is basically using Thailand as a scapegoat while still buying the oil.
Pretty much. CSILA alleges the regime is using Thailand publicly to rally nationalist support, but then quietly buying Thai oil anyway. They call it a double standard, suggesting the regime is, quote, lying to its own people, and adding that if they do that, they would not hesitate to deceive Thais too. It paints a picture of, playing two different games at once.
And does the source suggest there might be an economic gain from this alleged deception, especially for those in power?
Yes, that's the really concerning part. The source suggests that if this supposed boycott actually drives up oil prices inside Cambodia because people think there's a shortage or they have to use other, maybe more expensive sources, then who benefits? Potentially those with political connections, maybe Hun Sen's family and allies who reportedly own oil companies, they could profit significantly from the higher prices that ordinary Cambodians end up paying. It raises this really alarming idea that, the more hardship the public faces, the richer a select few might get, turning tension into a business opportunity, essentially.
Wow. Okay, so these border events, military, political, economic, they clearly have wider ripples, don't they? Both inside Thailand and for future relations. What does the Thai PM's border visit tell us about her government's own internal politics, especially with the military?
Yeah, it tells us quite a bit, actually. Her visit, while focused on the border, is also seen as an effort to, let's say, smooth things over with the military. There was that leaked audio clip earlier, right, where she apparently voiced concerns about the military being, quote, opposite the government. That led to public apologies, shows of unity with commanders. But this whole border situation and the military taking the lead on closures or adjustments, it kind of inadvertently gave the military a more visible role, more authority in these decisions, which contrasts sharply with Cambodia, where you see Hun Sen and Hun Manet, the political leaders, right out front.
Interesting contrast. So given all these complex layers, the politics, the economics, and military moves, what does the source suggest Thailand needs in terms of an overall strategy to handle this?
Well, it really begs that question, doesn't it? What is the overarching strategy? Because these military-led border measures, everyone agrees they're temporary. They have to be. They just hurt citizens too much on both sides to be a long-term fix. So resolving this needs a much broader approach, not just security, but diplomacy, politics, economics, even labor issues. Think about all the Cambodian migrant workers. The source points to the National Security Council, the NSC, as the body that should be coordinating all this, bringing together ministries like defense, foreign affairs, interior, commerce, labor, a real whole-of-government approach.
And diplomacy is key, obviously. Yeah. Are there specific channels for dialogue that should be used more?
Absolutely. There are existing mechanisms. You've got the Regional Border Committee, the RBC, that operates at the regional commander level, and then the General Border Committee, the GBC, which is at the defense minister level. These aren't just, bureaucratic acronyms. They're established channels designed precisely for dialogue and de-escalating situations like this. The analysis suggests Thailand really needs to show it's willing to use these to negotiate, and maybe, if Cambodia refuses to engage, make that refusal public.
Right, transparency. And what about the international angle? How does the wider world and maybe recent reports fit into Thailand's communication strategy here?
That's a really important piece, international communication and fighting misinformation. Thailand is urged to be proactive, get its factual story out, both at home and abroad. That means countering any fake news, like those Cambodian claims about Thailand stopping oil sales or kicking out workers, if the reality is different. And yeah, the international context matters. There was that recent UN ODC report, that's the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, which actually designated Cambodia as a major scam hub, a center for transnational crime. That adds another layer, doesn't it? Shows the global implications of what's happening locally. While the source mentions Thailand usually prefers bilateral talks, not running to, say, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, it does float the idea of potentially using international criminal courts like the ICC if these transnational crime issues like the scam hubs keep escalating.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've really seen how one event, this border tension, is actually this incredibly complex mix. Military strategy, political theater, economic interests, even information warfare.
Right.
The actions of leaders, the impact on regular people, the money flows underneath, it's all woven together.
It really is. It's a powerful reminder that things are rarely just one thing. You've got to look at all the angles,
Yeah.
beyond the headlines.
Absolutely. So maybe the final thought for you, our listener, navigating this world packed with information. In a time when fake news and carefully crafted messages can shape international relations, even economic outcomes, how crucial is it really to look past those immediate headlines? To ask the question, who actually benefits when tensions like these flare up? And perhaps what other stories might be hidden just beneath the surface of those official narratives?